What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Boundless Perception YouTube channel. And today we are switching it up a bit and we are revisiting an old episode I did, but specifically we're focusing on one of the objects I was talking about, one of the tasks I was talking about with regards to cosplay edits. If you saw that video, it was entitled 6 Tips for Cosplay Edits from Anime Conventions. I went over 6 tips that I thought would be very helpful for you if you are a cosplay photographer and you come back and you do edits from those shoots when you're at conventions, or specifically right in the convention hall and you haven't gone to your own location. Anyways, I gave you 6 tips, and today I specifically want to talk about one of those tips, which was cutting out the character. I went over the different tools that you can use to cut it out, and again, in Photoshop, there's a million ways to do every single thing. But today we're going to talk about specifically using the pen tool and cutting out your character and what that looks like in comparison to using the select subject tool. So let's get into it. So as I said, today we're going to be using the pen tool to select a character, well, a cosplayer I know, a good friend of mine, Dark Hyperion Cosplay. If you haven't seen that shoot, I will link that below in the video for you guys, but definitely check out that shoot. But today we're going to be using a picture from that shoot to cut it out and just begin, the cosplay editing process. Not to go through the whole thing, but specifically just to select that character. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as you can see, we are jumping in here to Photoshop with our awesome picture of Dark Hyperion Cosplay. So the first thing we're going to do, you can see the mouse here, we're going to go up to the Select Subject tool. You can hotkey with it with W if you're using a PC. I'm not sure what it is on Mac, but I'm sure it's probably something similar, if not the same button. It'll take you up here and it'll say Quick Selection Tool. If you hold down the left click button on it, you'll see Object Selection Tool, Quick Selection Tool, and Magic Wand Tool. Each of these has they all do the same thing, but just in very different ways. You can see if we use the Magic Wand Tool and we just, try to highlight him, you have to go to, there's different settings and things to get it to go, but it's not exactly doing what I want right now. So we're just gonna jump over now to the Quick Selection Tool. The Quick Selection Tool, much better. I'm holding down left mouse button and it's allowing me to highlight basically all the items that I want from this picture. So I'm getting Dark Hyperion Cosplay here. I'm selecting his hat, selecting his hoodie, selecting his pants. But if you will notice now, the marching ants have now selected, let me zoom in, this portion of the picture. I do not want this portion. It's also selected this portion over here, and it's got this included, this included. It's got a lot of things that I do not want. Now, and I know what you're thinking, you can hold down the Alt button, and this will allow you to remove certain sections of the picture. You can also hold down Shift, which will add back to the picture. So again, that's Alt to remove, Shift to add back, Alt to remove, Shift to add back, but it's still very, very generic. It's getting the best it can, but it's not as exact as I want. You can play around with it, but again, it's not really what I want. You can use this, I believe, for very quick edits if you're not trying to be very specific, if you're testing things out, but not if you're trying to get very detailed. So I'm gonna go ahead and press Ctrl D, and that's gonna remove that whole selection. Press Z to zoom back out, fit screen. We're right back to where we started. So now, press W again. There's also another thing here called Select Subject. So I press the Select Subject button. Again, if you press W, it will take you to this. This will come up here, Select Subject. And it did a pretty good job. I mean, it didn't get his sword, it got all of him. It's missing a little bit of his shoe, and like I said, the sword, but again, it's just not what I want. I don't want this area. And then if I move in, you can see it does pretty well actually on his clothing. It's hard to see, but right here, it's getting a little bit extra that I don't want. It didn't get all of right here, some of his hat. It's just not specific enough. So I don't personally use that. Control D again to deselect everything. So the first thing I'm going to do is Control J to make a copy of the background layer because we don't want to mess up that layer. Then we're going to press P or go over here and select the pen tool. Not the freeform pen tool, not the curative, add anchor, delete anchor. We will end up probably using add and delete, but right now, just the basic pen tool. So then I'm going to zoom in and just choose a starting area. So I'm going to start right here on this shoe. And this process takes a lot longer to do, but it's way more specific. And it allows you to specifically, I said specific a lot, but it allows you to really get in there and get exactly what you want. So that is what I'm going to do right now. I will speed this part up for you guys because I'm sure you don't want to see me sit here and go through an entire selection process. So give me 1 second and I will get that done for you guys. Okay guys, so I just finished going all the way around him, cutting him out. Again, as I said, it takes a little bit of time, but it's well worth it in the end, trust me. So when you zoom in very close like this, I'm pressing Z, holding left mouse button to zoom in. You can see each point looks kind of far when you're zoomed in close, but when you zoom out, you can't tell them apart. Like they're actually extremely close together. So we have this part cut out. I actually cut it out on the background layer, but it doesn't matter. I can just switch over to layer 1. Since they are duplicate images of each other, again, I duplicated those images by pressing Control J. What I'm going to do now is actually cut him out from the actual background. One way to do that is, again, to press, well, first we have to make a selection. So we go back to our pen tool, pressing P. We select one of the anchor points and click Make Selection. Feather radius, it kind of depends on what you want, but just for this purpose, I'm gonna do 2. So now you can see there's marching ants all the way around him. That lets me know we have made a selection. So I'm gonna go ahead, press Control J, boom. That cut him out of the image. He is no longer part of that image. He is still part of it, but he's on his own separate layer. If I turn off these 2 background layers, you can see, boom, he's cut out. And it's a pretty good selection if I do say myself. Now, what we have to do is get rid of that little bit here, and we have to get rid of this little bit here. So again, I will use the pen tool. And I forgot to mention, the whole time you saw me going around pressing, with the pen tool, selecting him, I was actually holding down the space bar, which would turn the zoom or the pen tool, or whatever tool you have, into a hand. And you can now drag the picture around to do whatever you want. So I'm gonna go ahead now and cut out this last little bit that I don't want in the picture. So again, choose a starting point. I'm gonna choose right here, this 90-degree angle, and do the exact same thing. So here we go. This time, we're just gonna press delete and get rid of it instead of Control J to make a new layer. So we just deleted it this time. Zoom out, fit screen, zoom back in to this point. Pen tool, exact same thing. All right, we press Control D now to remove all selections. And there we have it. We have completely cut him out of his original image. There are several, just tons of steps we take from here, but this is all I'm going to do for now because I haven't basically gone through and chose everything that I'm going to do with this picture, but I knew I was going to use this one, so I went ahead and cut him out. I actually did that one a lot faster than I thought I did, so I'm getting better at this. But a few other things I just want to say about this is I kept zooming out. You would see I was zoomed into here and I was, making my selection. I would press Z, fit screen to zoom out to see exactly where I wanted to go next. This can be very helpful when you have things like hair and you're trying to figure out how you want to cut that out. You don't want to just make a straight line through hair because that's not how hair flows. You want to, get each individual hair if you can, or if there's too many, you want to decide which ones you can keep and which ones you want to get rid of. So there you have it. Again, thank you Dark Hyperion Cosplay for doing this shoot with me, and I hope you enjoy the final images that are going to come from this image. So stay tuned. If you guys like the video, definitely like and subscribe, hit the like button below. And if you have not seen the original video where we filmed this shoot or the one where I gave my 6 tips, definitely check those out as I will link them at the end of this video and below. Until next time guys, stay boundless. See you all. Bye-bye.